game na hindi nangyari ang sweep. UPD stood strong in that game, and the question remains, can they pull off the reverse sweep?
Yeah, although our predictions did not seem to be accurate, predictions all around for that matter, UPD has just showed that they're still in this race. It's not over. It's still going to be hard, in my opinion. It's not as if the momentum has completely swung yet in their favor, because HAU is still up one game, so it's 2-1 right now. They can still lose UPD, but it seems like they've found what they need to do in order to win this series.
Baka gusto mong nagkatotoo yung sinabi natin, may sumigaw sa isang crowd na let's go! Parang, let's go, UPD! Tapos biglang gabi, nagkaroon sila ng anime moment. Nung nag-flashback kay Levi, lahat ng mga scrim na pinagdaanan nila, lahat ng mga times na nabugbog si Solis sa mid, bumalik, tapos, not now, not like this.
Not yet.
Not
it's
yet.
Not yet over for us.
It's not yet over. We need to rise up. But kidding aside though, Valiant Esports, I feel like their mistakes in that game was one. I mean, the itemization. I feel like there's really a big gap in what they wanted to do and what they built for it, and their playstyle as well.
Yeah, definitely. The ILS desk was able to point all of the itemization issues out already. And aside from that, even just the team comp that they drafted was pretty peculiar. Like pivoting into that Twitch for Kinzon, even though it wasn't necessary, not putting Parzival on the playmaking champion, although he did really well on Oriana, not to say the least. But yeah, so let's get right into it. Fourth game of this series. Yeah. Mukhang Valiant Esports, wala naman silang problema sa comp na niran ng UPD. So perhaps they're just going to adjust the draft that they're going to give themselves, because it's basically the same bans, Seth and Caitlyn for themselves. So UPD on the other hand, Mordekaiser, Ezreal, still the same. Pero yun nga, like I said, mukhang alam na ng UPD kung ano kailangan nilang gawin.
Oh wow. Parzival, he did play Vigar, but not in the series. What made Oblation Esports think that they'll... Wow.
Okay.
And an insta-lock Lucian. This is very risky. Coming in from Oblation Esports.
Well, honestly speaking, I honestly... Wait, the Veigar being banned is very peculiar to me if they're going to insta-lock this Lucian, because Lucian's really good against like weak laners such as Veigar. So I'm not quite sure what the thought process there was, but the answer of HAU is their comfort bot lane. So that's Saya Rakan. I like this from HAU. They're going back to what works. But for UPD, them picking Lucian Flex means that they want to go hard early, in my opinion. But this is the answer. Blind pick Corki being hovered again. So no, they go back to Maokai top, which is good. So yeah. So far it's fine.
But Valiant Esports looking to go back to what worked for them in game 1. This is the lovers duo in the bottom lane once again. Kaidan, great Rakan from game 1, and also Saya, one of the two champions that Kinzon played really well throughout the group stages, and now in the semifinals as well. Let's see if this will work out for Valiant Esports. But for the aid, another marksman coming in from Oblation Esports. This is gonna be a Kog'Maw, and we rarely see a Kog'Maw pick in competitive, but looks like Valiant Esports, good drafting so far. 2 AD carries, no problem. Let's draft that Shen.
Right, and this Kog'Maw is actually pretty interesting. I think that this is a flex pick for UP Diliman. I feel like Solis, this is part of his champion pool, albeit he doesn't really use it that much, but it's a Lucian flex, triple flex with a Kog'Maw double flex for bot and mid. So we'll have to see what's gonna happen. UPD decide to ban out that Sejuani, so they kind of want to take out all of the hard engages, I feel, against this Kog'Maw.
I
So
feel like
that's one
Morgana
thing.
for
Yeah,
right now.
I think that like you said, actually, yeah. Speaking of Morgana, I feel like that would be a good pick for UPD to secure, like
Yeah, I mean,
a really good pick.
looking at how things are going out for them, if they draft a Morgana, that's like two lost bands coming in from Valiant Esports, because I don't think that they will run the Braum or Lulu. I mean, Lulu could be a possibility, but again, if you draft a Morgana, that immediately puts one AD carry out of
Oh
your two
man,
AD carries at least safe. But now, looking how Valiant Esports is drafting, I just say that this is quite good. Trundle, though, to melt down that Maokai. UPD
good
is so
answer.
far just getting answers to their good draft picks.
Yeah. We'll have to see though what is their plan with these flex picks. So first is this Thresh being hovered. Yes, it gets locked in, so that's gonna fall into the hands of UPD Alto. And this Nidalee is being hovered. We know that Levi is a fan of plays well rather when he has these playmaking junglers in his hands, but I think they are going to place him on one because they already have a tank. But the problem is this Shen Trundle is gonna be such a big nuance. So it does get locked in. So it's a jungle Eve. Very interesting. Have we seen this yet to be picked in the Alliance League? I'm not really sure.
Jungle Eve, though, is still quite strong in this meta. But this
Yes.
is no surprise, but the Kog'Maw. Man, looking at how Oblation Esports drafted, they need to make sure that the Maokai will stay alive in the front line, but that's immediately answered by a Trundle. And in terms of CC, look at the CC of Valiant Esports right now. Not only do they have the Lissandra, but the quickness, the snare coming in from from Saya rather. Then Trundle with, of course, the slows, and then Shen finally. Excuse me for that. The make or break taunt plus the shield.
Umi, I think that they should have gone with that Morgana pick instead, in my opinion. That pick that you brought up, because the Morgana just negates so much of the engage potential of HAU. And Thresh, yes, he does have the flay, does have the box, but Lissandra, it's hard to stop that when she comes in. You try to hook her when she pops out of her E, but if he just flashes away from that, then it's really hard. So Valiant Esports, I like how they drafted in response to Oblation Esports, but if UPD can make this comp work, they have a tank again. Randall is on that tank, and Evelyn is on this. Levi is on this Evelyn. If that gets to pop off, we know that soul pick can just delete people.
Yeah. Levi on this Eve would be the answer to anything Valiant Esports could provide right now, because we've seen Evelyn's carry games just by sheer assassinations, and that plays the same with Kha'Zix. So let's just see if Oblation Esports could pull that off once again. That is a very difficult task to put on Levi. But for Valiant Esports, their composition right now, it looks very balanced. I like it. This is something that has a lot of windows, or let's say
Right.
space for error. Even if you commit an error, you still have another win condition to take. But for side of Oblation Esports, if the Evelyn doesn't go off, what's the point of drafting an Evelyn?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, Omi. There's something I noticed though. What the comp of Valiant Esports might lack when it comes to late game is damage, because number one, Lissandra doesn't really scale that well into late game. Number two, Saya is not the super best hyper carry, but Kinzon is on Saya, so I'm pretty sure he can deliver in that regard. But on the side of Oblation Esports, they have the Kog'Maw, they have the Lucian, they have the Evelyn, and they have that front line. So when it comes to late game, I feel like UPD can make do with their comp, because this Kog'Maw is just gonna be really big as long as he doesn't get jumped on by the engage tools of HAU, which are actually a lot. So Um, it's gonna be a challenging game for Oblation Esports. But if they manage to win this game, that's when the
Silver
momentum
Scrapes, boy.
shifts.
That's the Silver Scrapes moment if they win this game. But Valiant Esports, they drafted so well in this game. And as you said, damage-wise, medyo malulugi sila late game. But wala nang late game if they can pull the trigger early, just like what they did Game 1 and Game 2. And if they're sticking close to their roots, what made them good in Game 1, Game 2,
Yes.
UPD has to remain, has to remain alert, has to remain very careful around the strategies of Valiant Esports, because we still have to respect Valiant Esports even if they lost Game 3. Game 1 and 2 was a stomp. It was a stomp. Game 3 was close.
Yeah, and we'll have to see. Like you said, I think that the advantage coming into this game 4 falls into the hands of HAU, because like you said, they went back to what works, and they have all the tools that they need to push for an early game lead. So I'm gonna say again what I said for the third game. UPD, they have to play the early game in a really stable way. They can't afford to give away kills. They can't afford to allow HAU to make those really greedy rotations, yung two-pronged approach they win on both sides. That can't happen this game. This is game 4. This is the next opportunity that UPD has to grab. Kailangan talaga they play their best for this game.
Yeah, and the best is the only thing that could pass them this test. Game 4 will be the ticket to secure them Game 5 against Valiant Esports. And for Valiant Esports, they wouldn't want that. They want to close it out right now, right in this fourth game. They don't want a possible reverse sweep. Let's enter Game 4 between UPD and HAU. That's going to be Oblation Esports versus Valiant Esports for the fourth game of this best of 5 series. Will it be UPD's ticket to a Game 5, or will it be HAU going to the finals instead?
Yeah, and what looks to be a really jam-packed game is looking to be somewhat safe for both teams. Walang pinili nilang strat for early game. No cheesy invades, no deep wards for now. Levi seems like he's going to start top side of the map and looking his way bot. And this is the first time that we might be seeing both junglers converge into the same lane at the same time. But no, Levi decides to, go back to his red buff and start there. Not sure if this is gonna be leashless. Very interesting if it is. So let's get right into it.
Yeah, and 2 wards in that tribush, 4 feet apart, because they're from another team. And if you don't get that reference, maybe I'm too old. Maybe Vine already is dead. But yep, red buff start for both junglers over here, as Solace looking to put in the hammer early on.
Yeah, and Solace really looks like he's found some confidence with himself there. But
This
no.
might be the cheese, the knockup landing on Alto, but there's no comeback yet, as they will just return to a regular laning phase.
Right, and that was almost disaster right there. Good thing Alto was able to disengage for that, not even blowing any summoner spells. So this is pretty much the level 2 secured for HAU. So control for bottom lane is there, but Solace really flexing his muscles on that Lucian early. Looks like siya yung nagpe-pressure right now kay Parzival sa mid lane, which wasn't the case for the previous games.
Yeah, and look at Krindle. This is the strength of a Shen top lane. You deal percentage HP damage with your Q, so doesn't matter how tanky Krindle is early on. The more HP he has, the more it will hurt. So Shenpick really liking it so far. Shen plus Tundle is one tank. It's a tank duo built to kill other tanks.
Yeah, definitely. So in that regard, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Grindel can survive this, especially if Corgi decides to path top. A trade is happening right now, but the minion wave is not in favor of Grindel, so he just backs off.
Ooh, look at this. Lucian is really out there trying to establish dominance in the mid lane. And Solace, this is his first game being the aggressor in this mid lane early on.
Yeah, and that he should be, because if he weren't, then that Lucian would have been, somewhat wasted. But something interesting is, actually, we just have to point out this Kogbo is an AP Kogmo. So if that, yes, if it really gets into the late game, it's gonna be hard. But again, mukhang early game wala masyadong nangyayari. So this is basically good for UPD so far.
Yeah, and
But
looking at what's happening right now, looks like Trundle will be hovering towards this bottom lane. It's not yet spotted by a ward. This might be dangerous for UPD if they try to go a little bit further than underneath the turret.
Looks like Corgi just decides to back off and get his first buy, while Levi has yet to secure his blue buff actually, and it's very interesting jungle pathing from him.
Quick question though for Zerk, and to our viewers as well. If nag-stand United ba si Red Plank tapos nag-W si Maokai just in the right time, susundan ba niya all the way from top lane to the other side of the map?
I know that's a very interesting question, and I'd also want to know the answer to that. It's like the Akali E, when he procs the second cast of that, susunod siya, 'di ba? Dun sa nawalan tao
Oh
and
no, wait a
nagbase or
minute.
what. But
Crindle might be the first
okay,
blood. No flashes will be
no.
burnt in that top lane. Quite the safe play coming in from Red Plank. I like it. I like it. Sometimes you gotta temper it. Sometimes having that flash has more value than burning it for 300 gold.
Yeah, and buti na lang wala sa top side si Corgi right there. And may TP pa naman si Crindle, so not much is lost there. It's a big deal though against a Shen who has Stand United and TP. If you are TP less, then you're basically just stuck there in top lane. You can't really do much.
Yeah, and Evelyn already hovering over to that top side. Red Plank,
A big wave of minions is crashing over there. This might be a good opportunity for Levi to try and find a kill. That's going to be the dash bird. Will the flash be burnt as well? The
Oh,
charm won't land. And that's a
sidestep.
little bit of fancy footwork coming in from Red Plank. Also secures them the dragon towards that bottom side as well.
Yeah, really good play by Red Blanc there. Managed to sidestep that charm, and on the other hand, Corgi rather securing that first Drake for HAU. It's a really good buffer for their team as this game progresses. And I want to see when the Herald rotation is gonna happen for HAU, because I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to do eventually. And the other question to ask is UPD going to respond to that, because they do have the mid lane Lucian.
yeah, and mid lane Lucian, a little bit low in mana. Can't stay aggressive against Parzival forever. And looking at the CS differential, hindi pa ganun kalaki. And the aggression is not yet bringing him any results just yet. And he
Yeah.
does have that 3 biscuits. He can stay in lane until those run out. And this is the beauty of having inspiration secondary. That biscuit really comes in big, especially with corrupting potion to pair it up with.
Yeah, and a good job on Parzival right there, surviving the Lucian lane. So that's great. Basically, they can use him to pivot across the map, and him even joining plays. Look at this, the play is about to happen. Red buff.
Levi, no ulti to find a reset. This might be too dangerous. The flash is burned, but the hook lands on Trundle. Will there be a fight though? The steal, it happens? No, it won't. That's gonna be Kinzon getting the red buff away from UPD.
Yeah, so really good play right there. They know that Kenzon was 6. None of the champions for bot lane UPD was 6 already, so I think that was really good respect. He did have a BF sword just against the lost chapter, so good play from HAU. They were able to spot that small window in power, so they were able to get away with that really, scot-free.
Yeah, but look at the CS difference in that bottom lane. The AP Kog'Maw not really matching the intensity that this Saya could bring. But Levi looking for something in the top lane. Red Plank with the slow, with the shield, actually zones out a lot of people. The charm will land. The flash is still available and will be burned in the top lane. Hindi natin nakita. But look at the timer on the upper right corner. It just got burned.
Yeah, and that is true. Good play right there from Levi. On the other hand, if you think about it a bit more though, if you get if you put a lot of pressure on the Shen, that means that's a lot of pressure relieved from their bot lane. And speaking of bot lane, they've made their way to top side right now. Here's the Herald rotation coming in for HAU.
Oh, this is
Looks like
dangerous
una-una
for
sila.
Solace. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
dangerous for
Oh boy.
Solace. The ulti is available
But
for the Sandra, but looks like that's gonna be one knockup on the Evelyn. The ultimate coming in from Evelyn is available for the reset. Perfect timing over there for Levi as the exhaust goes down for Kinzon. That's the heal burn, the charm. It's just there to zone. That's gonna be the barrier coming in from Shin. No artillery landing on Kinzon over there. Could have finished him off, but looks like Rift Herald will be going to the hands of HAU instead.
yeah, that last caress from Levi was just that was perfect. He would have died there, and I think UPD would have been able to contest this um, Herald if Grindel had his TP himself. Unfortunately, he did not, so it still fell into the hands of HAU. We'll have to see which lane it's decided to be used on. But overall, I would give that that to UPD in the sense that they didn't die, so that's stability for them. But still, Herald, mukhang sa top isa spawn to. This is additional gold coming
Yeah,
into the hands of
Corgi.
Kinzon.
Okay, Corgi just falls down on the Rift Herald in the top lane, but looks like Red Flag is spotted. Crindle looks to be TCing in the bottom lane. Quite unfortunate, but in the top lane, that's gonna be 3 plates going down to the side of HAU. Pause is there because of what happened in that bottom lane. Quite the unfortunate event for the side of UPD. Man, it really sucks to have problems outside the game when you're in the semifinals match.
Yeah, and talking about that, more than that, it's the fourth game. It's basically the Buntletcher game for UPD, and that happens. But I mean, there was really nothing to there was no catastrophe that happened. But
Yeah.
but then again, there should have been something that happened in bot, but Levi just, because of that, nag-back na lang siya, and walang nangyari basically because of that.
Yeah, and so far, still no kills on the table, but a small gold lead is starting to build up for HAU. That's a 600 gold difference. Not that big so far, but still, the Dragon will be spawning a few seconds from now. We may be looking at a big fight.
Right, and Parzival on this Lissandra has yet to complete a big item. Meanwhile, Manamoon has been completed by Solace, so that's something for them. Kogmo not really looking to be such a big threat, so mukhang bibigay na lang nila muna ng Drake, which is fine. Still the second Drake. Then again, I just have to say this Lucian pick, it hasn't been really translating much for them yet. But here we go.
Oh, the culling is
Yet.
called. Frozen Tomb
Oh.
is available. This might be dangerous for Solace. Last Caress is able to pick him up if ever ma-surprise. A surprise! It's gonna be the Frozen Tomb to buy him a little bit of time, and he will be a little bit safe underneath that turret.
Yeah, and if only the angle of that calling was calibrated just a bit more to the left, then that could have been a flash burn at the very least. But unfortunately, we just have to take what we can get. And mukhang bottom side right now, ang focus ng how they want to take down this tower basically, so they can have more breathing room to take future dragons. Yeah, so basically that's the game plan, I would think. So UPD, they just want to hold on to it. Meron namang wave clear tong si Kogmo.
Yeah, I mean, it's
is on.
AP Kogmo. You literally spit with your E, then living
Yeah.
artillery the backline. It's an immediate clear. So far it has been working. They don't have a CS lead, but if it keeps the minions out of the way, I mean, he's basically playing Kogmo as Ziggs, if you think about it.
Yeah, Ziggs and Kogmo kind of fill in a similar role. If you think about it, long range, continuous DPS. Medyo insane yung range ng Kogmo ult once he gets to level 16. But question is, again, like you said a while ago, will we get to that point in the game? Right now, actually, no kills yet. Imagine that. How in a comp with so many proactive tools in their hands, wala pang kills. 1k gold lead though. But I think UPD has done a good job to not give away too much.
Yeah, and right now, HAU is nowhere close to what they look like in game 1 and 2. I just have to say that game 1 and 2 HAU was very different. Sobrang aggressive nila. They always found the holes. But looks like Solace, Subjugate is there. The dash, the quickness, the knock of the lantern. It won't be enough. First blood will go to HAU as the action doesn't stop in the bottom lane. Frozen Tomb and Yobu, the Shen, the taunt. It's gonna be a kill, but Levi will pick up Parzival. It looks like there's gonna be a suicide bomber. That's gonna be a double kill for the Evelyn as Corgi is there, chomping down the mistress. The last caress will be building a little bit of distance. No, quickness, the knockup. That's gonna be Kaidan going in for the kill, but pace for his life. That's 3 kills going towards the Evelyn, as that is a very aggressive bottom lane fight.
That's a lot of things happening across the map. I mean, good thing they were able to spot Solace right there. Really good on Yobu. Really, he managed to buy so much time. Although he did perish, he was able to allow Levy to arrive and get that trade kill. Actually, 2 kills in his name. 3 actually. My bad. So going back to what I said in the drafting phase, if this Evelyn gets fed, that's gonna be that's it's like a Rengar, but always invisible. You really gotta pay attention to that.
No, she's like Rengar, but she's hot. JK! Well, let's go back to this game. Still, it is a 3-3 game with no big goal lead so far. 1.4k gold lead for HAU plus 2 Drake, so that's a pretty big lead a little bit in terms of objectives.
But what if you're into Katsumi? Never mind.
What? Sorry, I was stretching my back, my dude.
Okay. So, going back into the game. 3 for 3 now. Basically, it's even right now. Still a 1.5k gold lead, but third Drake is about to spawn. Looks like HAU is opting to go for this Herald first. I feel like UPD is not going to contest this and establish position for themselves in the Drake instead. So, looks like for now it's gonna be a trade of objectives, but HAU might decide to actually just go full rotation down to Dragon. We will have to see.
Yeah, I mean, they have the time to do so. And again, how securing objective after objective. UPD is losing their way from game 3. They can't let HAU get all of these objectives for free. HAU plays really well with this Rift Herald.
Yup, and looks like it's gonna be a dive onto this Shen, 4-man dive. But nothing's gonna happen right now, and mukhang makakapag-respond nga ang squad ng HAU dito for the third Drake.
I'm calling it.
Two
Two
turrets.
in that mid lane for this Drake. But looks like they're not
really good
going
play
in
for
for it. They want the Shen in the backside, but the Shen dashes away. The hook lands on Parzival, but the Frozen Tomb is there to buy some time. Yobu is in the backside, destroying artillery after artillery. Kaidan is down, but looks like that's gonna be the Maokai falling down. The passive coming in from the Lissandra will pop on 3, but it won't be enough as Parzival still needs to enter that fight. Kinzan is the backside though. The AD carry still alive. The Dragon is not yet surrendered for the side. Oh no, that's an early pop, and Corgi is going to be alive. I mean, if Levi was a little bit more patient over there, that could have been a dead Trundle.
Yeah, Levi wasn't really in the ideal position that he would have wanted for himself because he's on this Evelyn. He wants to be flanking, but because of the circumstances at that point, he wasn't really able to reposition himself. And on the other hand, the reason why HAU sort of lost that fight was because Kaidan managed to charm only Grindel, which was the front line, so it didn't really matter. And UPD was able to really kite out that team fight really well. So that's something good for them. They were able to secure that third Drake. So Soul Point is not yet a threat, which is really great for the team comp that UPD drafted. So really good for them. But you know, like you said, you called it out. 2 turrets. One went down. Second is almost down, and all of the outermost turrets for UPD right now are really low. So it's gonna be really easy for HAU to make a play on whatever side of the map that they choose.
And for the Lucian pick, he went for the Muramana instead. The early game of the Lucian didn't really work out well, so this Muramana will actually, no, Manamune rather, will give him good scaling entering the late game as well.
Yep. And next objective is basically not in the form of any neutral ones. Towers are up for the taking, but if you look at it, I did say it would be hard, but Grindel, okay, he's fine, but it would be kind of hard for HAU to just walk up and take down towers because UPD has wave clear. Lucian, Kog'Maw, Maokai is the tank.
Why are we seeing an AP Kog'Maw in semifinals? I could have taken it for granted if group stage is there. But if UPD loses this, they're out. They're out of the tournament. But man, putting trust on the AP Kog'Maw.
I know. I mean, I'm part of the group chat of Oblation, right? And I sometimes see discussions about AP Kog'Maw. And whenever they argue about it, there is sense to it whenever you pick it. I personally wouldn't have drafted an AP Kog'Maw into a comp with Lissandra, Shen, Rakan. But if they manage to pull this off, I don't know. I wouldn't know what to say. Grabe yun. Grabe yung tiwala, sabi mo.
Yeah, and now we're looking at a 2k gold lead for the side. Now make that almost 3k, a roughly 3k gold lead for HAU. 2 Drakes on their side, but the last Drake went towards UPD's favor. As we scale towards the late game, sino bang lamang dito late game scaling?
For me, I'm sticking with what I said. I think it's gonna be UPD. It's gonna be hard to kill this Kog'Maw late game because he's gonna be building a defensive item for sure. And the range on his ultimate is just it's a cheat skill. You can't reach him.
Yeah, and now he is level 11, a little bit of an upgrade for his the claw. The charm actually lands. That's the frozen tomb used defensively. He has to go out. The Shen. Oh no, baby! It's a shutdown on the Evelyn as it goes wrong.
You don't want to see that right now. I think Levi was trying to time his last caress, but then the Shen taunt was just too fast.
Subjugate is used on this Maokai. This is going to be a very tanky Trundle to deal with, and that's going to be no Frozen Tomb available. He claws out of that safely though, so quite good. Kog'Maw. Man, look at this Kog'Maw. Living Artillery, that's one. Not landing though. They aren't landing. He's out of mana, man. That could have been a kill on Parzival if he landed quite a few.
Yeah, really scrappy team fights happening right now. That was almost a good pick-off onto Parzival in the top lane. But he was just really tanky. The additional health from that Proto Belt, I think it saved his life. So, not enough damage just yet, despite being already on a Rabadon's death cap, Levius. So, just maybe a bit more. On the other hand, I think UPD is itemizing quite well against the team of HAU. Mercury threads coming in all across the board. And even in summoner spells, double cleanse actually. I failed to point that out a while ago, but double cleanse is really good against the team comp of HAU right now.
Yeah, I mean, having that cleanse is always a good thing to have, especially on a CC heavy mid laner like Parzival's Lissandra. But this looks to be a very dangerous spot for Levi. The last caress is used defensively. Didn't click the lantern, but I'm quite sure na ang hirap i-click ng lantern when they're piling up over it.
Yeah, and him using this last caress means that it might be hard to secure this Drake as a steal. But looks like magkaka 5v5 dito soon.
Yeah, teleport is burnt for the Shen. Actually taunts down Alto. No aftershock available yet. That's a flash burn for Parzival, but Yobu's in the back line. That's Alto going down to the Shen as the culling is called, putting down a lot of damage on Kaidan. Kaidan is forced to flash out, but the Shen is going ham as Corgi. That's going to be a double kill for the Shen. Corgi biting down Solace. The dash, that's going to be the Stand United Solace forced out. Solace, he's still alive. The dash, the taunt. Oh, still alive? But that's going to be the turret finishing him off. That's Yobu getting a kill in Corgi. Still, Yobu alive, a little bit of mana left. Might be a huge living artillery as long as it lands.
Yeah, this Kogbo pick seems like it's working really well for UPD so far, but because the team fights have been because the team fights were so scrappy, like so much moving around mobility, it's kind of getting a little bit hard for Yobu to land his living artillery. So that's a really real consideration for this Kogbo. He really has to, land his living artilleries in order to be effective, because if not, what else is he going to do?
Yeah, and look at what Shen did. I mean, what Red Plank did in that fight. It's so massive. Ang daming na block na damage coming in from Solace and almost everyone, to be honest. He was so tanky. He had so much damage in that fight as well. And I think Red Plank just played really well in that fight, paired as well with Corgi. And that actually gave them not only the dragon, but the team fight win as well.
True, and in addition to that, I don't think Grindel would want to be flanking on Maokai. Maybe in other games it would work, as we see Levi right here.
Oh,
getting
Levi.
collapsed
Last
on.
Caress is used defensively. The flash is burnt as well. The box will slow down the Trundle, and the hook won't land. This is looking bad for UPD. There's a lot of resources burned as the Baron is still up.
Yeah, but yeah, just going back to what I was saying, Cryandel, he needs to serve as the front line. I don't think he can afford to flank, given the two team comps that we have right now. He needs to to stop the frontliners of HAU from getting onto the squishies.
Yeah.
So let's see if they can make that optimization on the fly, as we see a Baron fight waiting to happen.
Yeah, Crindle is sobrang live pa ni Crindle. He's the main
Yeah.
engage tool. Alto is already there. The flash taunt on Solace over there, and that's a dead Lucian immediately. A lot of CC going down. Oh no, Yobu is out of mana. He can't even place a little bit of damage over there. Featherstorm is called and pulled. A double kill for Kinzon, and this might mean Baron for HAU.
Oh no, we've seen this lost mana, this lack of mana 3 times already on 3 separate team fights, and I feel like I feel like he should have built Archangel stuff, in my opinion, because he really has to spam his living artillery, and building Luden's Echo is a bit greedy, in my opinion, because well, I think it could have worked if the ball was in the court of UPD, because they can use their CC to lock people in place, but the problem is HAU is always first to pull the trigger. May nakaka-catch off guard sila parate. So on the back foot yung UPD, ang daming namimiss na living artillery. And what did that amount to? Baron in the hands of HAU.
Yeah, and looking at the scoreboard right now, di natin masyado namalayan. It's already almost a 10k gold lead for the side of HAU, and things are looking dark for UPD. And man, if they lose this game, they lose the tournament already. And for HAU, the finals is getting closer. One more win and they secure their spot in the finals.
Yeah, for sure na aamoy na ng HAU yung pagkapanalo nila dito. They just have to go a little bit more. One more play will make or break it. And UPD, on the other hand, I don't think they can afford to get picked off anymore. They have to play their comps straightforward. Grindel has to be there during the start. He can't afford to be trailing back from their team.
Yeah, I mean, as the primary engage tool for UPD, he always has to be there first. And kanina nakita natin, wala siyang teleport. He was in bot lane. HAU timed that perfectly. They opted for the Baron, got it, won the team fight, and this is why we're seeing a big gold lead right now.
Yep, and slowly but surely with this Baron buff, HAU is taking over the the tier 2 turrets for their side, and mukhang magpa-fall rin naman to eventually. Rotation coming in, Grindel is a tank, hindi naman nila mapipitas to, so pakonti-konti lang dito. See how they're not really pressured too much at this point.
Yeah, and HAU already knocking at the doors of UPD. This is the game for them to win. If they win this, they will secure finals already. And for UPD, will they be able to stand their ground once again? Try to defend their base, burn out this Baron buff. Those are questions that only the players can answer. Will they go in for the fight though?
Yep,
Yeah,
hook landing.
that's the hook landing on the Trundle, but they cancel it out. This is still too risky for UPD to take.
Yeah, and HAU doesn't even need to push for this tower. The soul is about to spawn that fifth Drake. They can just opt to take that, and UPD can't afford to let them have that, because if they do, then they're just gonna lose extended team fights.
Okay, that might be a good hook coming in from Alto, but Kaidan simply dashes away. As you said, Soul is already up for grabs for HAU over there as they start the Drake.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to be able. No, Levi is approaching slowly but surely. Corgi
Okay, he
gets
lands
charmed.
the charm. The last Stand United it's used on Corgi. Lascares not actually available, but he was taunted just in the nick of time as Kinzon is trying to pick up a kill on Alto. The box is used. That's going to be the knockup. A lot of feathers just pummeling through that Thresh as Yobu will get a kill on the Trundle, and this looks to be the soul going to the hands of HAU as Kinzon secures it. This is the last stand for UPD. Will they be able to defend their base? Parzival thinks otherwise. He wants it now. He doesn't want it later. He wants to lock down Crandall, the knockup, the frozen tomb, and looks like the tree, the pillar of UPD is down as HAU is trying to end this game as quickly as possible.
Looks like it's a done deal for UPD right here as the teleport is coming in from red flank. Looks like they really want to end it right now, but 4 people are alive from UPD.
Yeah, and 4 people. They're trying to make something happen, make their base survive for at least a little bit more for them to have a chance. In the mid lane though, they're looking for it. That's a 2-man snare coming in from Parzival, and looks like Levi is the first victim. He has to flash out to safety. Kaidan very low on HP as he will try to kite it out. Solace though, great cleanse, he's still alive. That's gonna be no kills so far inside the base of UPD as they try to take mid lane instead.
Ooh, so UPD is it's giving their heart out and defending their base right now, but it's really hard to
snare
defend.
lands on Shen, no charm just yet as Yobu slows down a little bit of people. Parzival on the backside though, frozen tomb used on himself, slows down the Maokai, and looks like the Maokai is next. A shutdown though goes to Yobu after Parzival is down, but look at Kinzon going in, flashing in for the kills, doesn't get any of it. Goes for the inhibitor instead. This is looking to be a slow burn for HAU, but it is surely hurting UPD.
Yeah, definitely, and this is the last lane that HAU needs to take down. Inhibitor is soon to fall. They have the Ocean Drake. UPD is not giving up though. Yobu has refilled his mana bar, and it's just, you can't stop it. They have the Ocean Soul, and things are looking really bleak.
You can't stop it. You can only hope to delay it. HAU with the Ocean Drake, with the Baron buff, just decimates every inhibitor in the side of UPD. And UPD still, no turrets so far. 0 to 9 ang score ng turrets natin.
Oh man, that's very I don't know what to say. It just shows that how in terms of macro, they're really on point. And like the games that they've played across this series have shown that. Save for game 3 when UPD finally decided to flex their staple team fight comp, but HAU's not just gonna take that lying down. And this is them responding with their comfort comp themselves. CC heavy, dive heavy, early game, and mas nag-pay off eh. Mas napakita ng HAU yung galing nila sa comfort comp nila. So that's all there is to it.
Yeah, and looks like the Baron Ruby started by HAU. I don't think UPD can commit to stealing this away or even contesting it. The Baron Ruby falling to the hands of HAU uncontested as UPD is forced to defend their base from 3 waves, 3 lanes with all Mega Minions just marching in.
Oh, that's disgusting. I don't know what UPD can do. I think the only way that UPD can win a team fight is if Yobu can literally land all of his living artilleries onto the carries of HAU, but they're just too scrappy. The team comp of HAU, it's gonna be hard to do so, and we'll just have to wait until all of the visions converge into the Nexus turret.
Yeah, and the Nexus Thirst looks to be the next big objective to take for HAU. The box is used for no apparent reason, maybe to zone out Parzival on this Lissandra. The exhaust is there. Lascares used defensively. Kinzon still alive. That's going to be the Featherstorm dodging the living artillery. Parzival takes down Alto. This is looking bad for UPD as 2 already is down for UPD. The base is open. They're cracking it open. The finals is near. It's one more shot. HAU secures their final slot.
Oh man, that was, even though that game seemed to be not super one-sided, but it was really obvious, not obvious, but it was apparent which team would probably win. That was a really fun game to watch. Not gonna lie, because UPD did draft a comfort comp. They pulled out that really off pick, that AP Kogmo, but it was just too hard. Valiant Esports, they drafted really well in response to the team comp draft that UPT got for themselves. That Kogmo kept on running out of mana, and it's just, I hate to say, but better team win talaga,
Yeah.
and nagde-deliver talaga yung HAU sa series na to.
I mean, no offense to UPD, of course. So when we say better team win, it's more than just telling you guys that you sucked in that series. No, you didn't suck. When
Of
we say better
course.
team wins, how just delivered so great in this series. Nakita natin kung gaano kalinis yung macro nila. Parzival with his micro mechanics. I mean, they deserve this win. And congratulations to Holy Angel University for securing their finals berth in Predator Alliance League 2020 Summer in their first run as a collegiate team under Esports Acad Arena. I mean, this is big. For Holy Angel University, this is big. I hope I get to read articles written about you guys because you performed really well in the semifinals matchup. And congratulations again for securing your finals lead. But we can't talk any further about the analysis because we have our own analyst desk again. Hyron, Ventus, and Kellogg. I hope you're ready to make some analysis, or baka hindi na ba? I'm not quite sure. Lipat na rin natin just to be sure.
maging ako na yung old man back ko after this.
Wait, David, the clips are upside down. I think the shutdown goes first. The shutdown comes first. The Ono Levi before the team fight.
WLG. Mhm. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our final analyst desk segment for the day. Of course, I'm Hiron. This is Kellogg and Ventus, and joining us for this post-game analysis and interview, of course, it is going to be Corgi from Holy Angel University. What is up? Kamusta?
All goods pa, all goods.
Okay, congratulations. Moving on to finals after such a long journey from groups as well. Pero let's talk about yung game natin dito, or rather yung buong match for HAU versus UPD. And let's start from the pick ban. And it seems like both UPD and HAU talagang ginusto nila na red side sila for the entire match. Is that something that's deliberate? And how did that influence how you or how does that factor into your preparations against UPD? Corgi.
Pardon po, maingay po kasi dito.
Sorry. How did deliberately choosing red side for every game that you could choose? How did that factor into your preparations against UPD Oblation Esports?
Sequence, in red side, first, picking, blue side pick, Prio pick, then, red team, so Prio, Cyan Rakan,
Mhm.
and I'm picking, brain dead, like Trundle,
Yung usual pickups
usual pick lang.
from
So,
Sejuani,
ilang,
Tando, yeah.
3 games win streak ata yung Trundle ko.
Mm.
Pero yung nagpanalo sa amin talaga dun yung better communication, so after ng Dragon, so kukuha ng BF Surge yung ADC namin, then going to rotate to RH.
Yeah.
So, common na kasi yun eh. So,
Mhm.
pag 8 to 9 minutes, going to RH.
So talagang yung focus is on communication, pati
Parang,
yung
parang routine na yung sa amin yung 9
Yeah.
minutes to RH.
and yung mag-rotate doon si Kinzon and Kaidan to
Yeah,
secure the RH.
then, lalapag namin yung RH sa top, getting 4 or 3 plating.
Mukhang yung priority talaga is yung Syrakan, which makes sense to go red side, no? Since if you're blue side, you want to prioritize the Syrakan. If you pick one and the other one gets like banned, stolen away, it's kind of medyo less good siya. What do you think how the rest of that pick ban went though, Kellogg?
Yeah, for that red side, nabanggit na naman ni Corgi yung plano nila. Of course, comfort nila yung Syrakan. Tapos, pero yung takeaway dito is, nakita ko na finish pick ng UPD yung Lucian. Alam mo, it's triple flex, pero it was put into mid, wala masyadong impact yung Lucian. It did go Manamune, tapos nagkaroon na ng weird AP Kogmo. The UPD comp, it was almost like textbook UPD. Pero hindi nila na-play into their win condition. They had a lead early. Levi was also, pero it wasn't executed cleanly. As like for our first clip, makita natin na
Kita natin.
yeah, I mean, like Evelyn had like so much had so much gold, but you get through it.
Yeah. Super scary kasi yung first 3 kills ng UPD, they were really concentrated about Evelyn here, and we see talaga dito a lot of power coming from that Evelyn, pero in the end that Lissandra just makes it so hard to make that work. Actually, Kha'Zix was open there for Levi. What do you think, Ventus, kung why they went for specifically the Evelyn when Kha'Zix, something that's so tried and true for Levi? Why didn't they go for that, do you think?
I think it would have been harder for the Kha'Zix to assassinate anyone just because the sheer amount of CC that the HAU draft presented. So I think mas flexible yung Evelyn at that point, especially with the OT for escape. But even then, he still got caught. So that happened.
Yeah, really unfortunate. But wait, hold on. Yeah. So immediately after that, almost immediately after that first clip, no, we got into a Drake fight, and it was really explosive at 22 minutes. Really hard contest for this. I think we can look into our second clip and we can discuss this with Corgi. So let's look at our second clip. So here, they've already pushed away. They've been trying to push away UPD, and here they're trying to contest it. Ocean Drake resetting itself. For you, Corgi, in this sa moment na to, ano yung priority niyo to? What was the decision here to go for UPD instead of trying to complete the Ocean Drake? Ano yung nag-influence sa'yo na yun yung decision niyo dito?
Ano pa?
Nung clip na to,
Oo
sa
po.
yung
Ito na po,
pangalawang
pinapanood ko
Ocean.
na.
Yeah. So let's take a look. Yeah. So, instead of going for Ocean Drake, nakita nyo na separated si Crandall dito. Was
Opo.
that a trigger na yun ba yung nag-trigger sa inyo na mag-turn na lang sa UPD instead of trying to contest
Opo,
it?
kasi nag-call po ako doon na ti-take na lang yung Ocean. Then yung kasama ko yung red flank, nakita niya yung trash, so nag-in na lang siya. Then nag-turn na lang din ako doon sa Mokay na i-SS siya.
So, talagang yung as you said, yung communication talaga, yung
Parang
decisiveness.
nagmi-miss call man kami, pero napo-focus pa din namin yung sa UPD pa din.
So, talagang yung teamwork, communication, yung synergy niyo as a team, magkakilala na kayo lahat and you're able to be on the same page. And that won you the game. A lot of these dragon takes, yung control niyo over objectives is really what allowed you to get the edge. Kahit sobrang daming times na very close yung gold. Just the objective control, playing around Kinzon and Kaidan, taking that early Rift Herald. Definitely made for a very decisive game for HAU. So congratulations, you're moving on to the finals here. And actually, you were parang kayo yung sinasabing underdog ng matchup na to. I mean, UPD 4-0
sila.
You had like earlier defaults earlier in the group, pero you've bounced back with a vengeance and looking very clean going into the finals. How do you feel about that?
Sa pa lang, sa poster pa lang, parang na-disappoint na kami dun sa sinabi nilang underdog. So parang kasan na lang namin yung loob namin na kaya namin tawagan. Tapos communication is the better.
Yeah.
All goods pa din, all goods.
So really decisive that, and yeah, looking forward to tomorrow as well, like UST Teletigers versus FIT Itamraos. What do you guys think, Kellogg, Ventus? How do you feel with how locking in the slot to the finals? How do you feel about tomorrow's game? What do you expect?
I really think the ones that have been winning a bunch of collegiate championships are still gonna take it against FIT. I bet USD will get a 3-0. Seeing as I mean, we've never seen a HAU match against USD, but after today, it might just be like something that I have to admit that maybe Group B must have been a better group than Group A.
Doesn't that feel bad for us because of UPD? But what about Ventus? How do you feel about tomorrow with the context na how is locked in for the finals?
I have to agree with Kellogg naman na I expect UST to win like, pretty cleanly. Like if they play the way that they normally play and you don't, mess up a lot, I think it should be a clear-cut win for UST.
And ikaw naman, Corgi, tomorrow, madedecide kung sino kakalabanin niyo sa finals. Who do you think is more worthy na makalaban niyo?
Siguro UST kasi yung first game namin na DQ kami kasi internet problem. Pero sabi nga ng mid namin, better mid. Para lang masabi doon sa interview, sabi niya. Sabi niya, babawi kami, kaya yun.
Yeah.
Wala lang.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see if UST is the one that takes the final slot tomorrow. And when the finals are locked in, And we're gonna have to see the matchup between HAU and UST, according to Corgi. Uh, yeah, yeah. Do you have any as we wrap up our program for tonight? Do you have any? Meron ka bang gustong i-shout out? Thank anyone, your organization, family, etc. Meron ka bang gusto sabihin?
First of all, shoutout sa Valiant Esports. Sa top namin si Red Lang, aka Lander. Sa mid namin, si Ezra. Support, si Dane. Yung president namin, EDC namin, shoutout, big shoutout. At dahil dito, nakapasok kami dito kay Kinzon. Yun lang po, thank you.
All right, so that was Corgi, the jungler here for Holy Angel University Valiant Esports. I hope all of you had fun for today's semifinals, and of course, we're still gonna go for more semifinals action tomorrow. I'm Hyron. With me was Kellogg and Ventus, and thank you, Corgi, for being with us. Good luck in the finals, and congratulations for today. We'll be seeing you tomorrow for not only League of Legends semis, but also Hearthstone with Leo and Percy. So just save this channel, twitch.tv/AcadArena, and we'll be seeing you tomorrow for more esports action.